So you don't, I'm not saying you got to be perfect. You don't have to be. I know a guy who his only cheat meal is once a year on his birthday, and his cheat meal is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, this dude is like hardcore, but I just can't see where that would fit into my lifestyle, my personality, and you know, you can still enjoy life and max out the healthy side. So I kind of live by this 85-15, 80-20 rule where, 85% of the time you're eating right, you're training right, like you got all that shit dialed in, you got your sleep right. 15, 20% of the time, cut loose. You can eat a shitty meal or, have a long night and party or mess your sleep up a little bit. It's not the best thing to do, but it's not the worst by far. And if you're doing it 80, 85% of the time, then that small room for error that you have is not going to derail you or set you back really far. And I've found actually that when you get involved and really steeped in how when you really begin to understand and internalize this whole change and what it looks like and what it feels like, when you're so committed and you put such thought and discipline and hard work and commitment into that, you really don't even have the desire to color outside of the lines. You know what I mean? Like you eat some shitty meal and you feel like dog shit the next day. You're like, why the fuck did I do that? Well, you miss a couple of training sessions and you're like, I feel like shit. Why did I do that? And the unhealthy options really don't even appeal to you. And because one of the biggest things that are going to hold you back with this and adopting this whole, fitness aspect as a part of your life, as a lifestyle, is the other habits that come with the fun party type lifestyle, the drinking, the drugs and all. You still may be young and have a social life and like to go out and do fun things and go on dates and go to clubs and shit like that. This is why, and even when you get older, like, do you want to take your girl out to eat and be eating like chicken and broccoli? You go to a nice place, you ain't gonna split a fucking dessert, have a badass appetizer. Uh, no, there's no reason for that. You can still enjoy the small things and the finer things in life without having to torture yourself and beat yourself over enjoying yourself a little bit. But you're very discriminate about these choices you make and these times you choose to step out and do those type of things when you invest so much time into yourself, into your body and your overall health. And not only that, it encourages you to look at all these other areas of life to get up to par with how you look and how you feel. Then you want to check on your mental health and your spiritual health and your emotional health. And it just blossoms into every other part of your life. I know for sure that once you dial that in, your body, your fitness, your healthy nutrition, it becomes a lot easier. It requires a lot less effort, and you're just kind of on autopilot. Like anything else you adopt as a habit in life, you find your groove in it, and it just sticks, and it just becomes an everyday routine. You don't really think much of it. You just kind of do it. And for people who aren't really familiar, or maybe they haven't seen you, or maybe they don't know you, and they say, man, you look like you work out, you look like fit. I mean, I've gone places and like I went to a crawfish bowl last year somewhere, and they brought out some kind of dessert. And one of the guys there was like, you eat dessert? I'm like, yeah, I enjoy dessert. And he's like, oh, you don't like eat anything sugar or anything unhealthy. And he starts telling me how he eats like shit. He don't do this and he don't have time to work out. And I've learned to just smile and agree, because I don't want to sit there and lecture the guy on his fucking excuses he's making. We're having a good time at a crawfish bowl, Hey, Maya, good to see you. So anyway, rolling in So that's like the philosophy and the psychology for me behind the whole fitness thing. I'm not trying to get a body ready for beach. I want to stay healthy. I want to be fucking in my 60s, and I want to be able to enjoy grandkids and enjoy life and enjoy doing physical things. I want my dick to work. I want to be, moderately attractive the older I get and being able to take my clothes off. And I want to be able to climb ladders and shit when I'm 65, 70. I want to be able to do all this. There you go, King. Health is wealth. And it's true. Either you're going to pay in time and money now to keep yourself ahead of the curve, or you're going to pay to keep yourself well when you're getting sick. And I'd rather be ahead of the curve. I've seen, and I have a son that's growing up behind me, and I want to set a good example for him. And I want him to be able to set an example for his children, and so forth and so on. And it's just a lot of people overthink, over dramatize, over complicate. It's not really that hard. And he is getting into the, well, what do you do? And how do I do this? And how do I do this type thing? What works better? 5x5 or low weight, low reps? And does the Pilates mix this? Listen, if it's a 5x5, if it's a bro split, if it's a, push pull leg split, if it's a full body, if it's HIIT, if it's CrossFit, any of these things, doesn't matter. What matters is consistency and adherence. So discipline. Just give it a chance. People do something for 4 weeks and they're like, yeah, I can't even see my abs yet. Man, I'm like, dude, you've been doing it for 4 weeks. Your body doesn't even know what the fuck's going on yet. Like you haven't even had the chance to remotely rearrange the receptors and the chemical releases in your body yet, let alone you haven't even detoxed from all the junk. Like your body's just starting to respond a month in to a regular workout program. In 2 months, people are like, well, I don't think this is working. Like, what? Like you barely started. And that's a problem with today's society, is this instant gratification, everything, instant fucking fix for everything. And there's no magic pill to make a long-term sustainable quality change in your life. That goes along with anything. And your body's no different. Now they have this Ozempic shit that's crippling people, doing irreversible damage. So you go to the lengths of putting this poison in your body to lose a few pounds rather than put the fucking fork down and work out. Like, come on. What is that? And the shit you're doing to yourself, now they're saying this stuff's doing damage to your stomach and your intestinal tract. That's irreversible. All because you're too fucking lazy. So that's just the state of society. I ain't going to get into all that. So it's anything you do. If you pick anything you decide to do to pick as a fitness regimen, requires you to stick with it. Give it at least 6 months before you try to make an informed decision about whether it's working or not. And track that shit. In the beginning, you have to track it. You got to write down everything. And that along goes with that. I see guys like, man, I go to the gym 4 days a week and I'm like, well, what do you eat? What are you eating for lunch today? Oh, I'm going to go to Popeyes. Well, I'm going to eat pizza for dinner. I'm like, come on now. Yeah, but I work out hard. I work out 6 days a week and I'm not seeing any difference. I'm like, because you eat like shit. You can't have one without the other. There's 3 main components. That's training, nutrition, and sleep. If one of those are out of whack, it's going to throw a huge demand on the other 2. And you're still not going to optimize the results you would get as if they were all 3 in, somewhat harmony. Rest is crucial, especially the older you get. And then people think I'll train harder and rest less, and that's worse because you have less time to recover. Your body needs to recover in order to optimize the gains and the results. And there's shit that you do, like you put a beating on your tendons and your joints, in your ligaments, and they don't have time to heal while you're building on muscle, building strength. And essentially what you're doing is working yourself right into an injury. Nutrition is just going to completely trump everything you do. If you get good sleep and train like a beast, but you eat like shit, you're fighting a losing battle. You're paddling upstream. Get gooder. Good to see you, brother. Happy New Year. Glad you came in. Then, obviously, if you're resting well and your nutrition's on point, you can have a lot better quality of life than most people. When it comes to the training, you're slacking, you're still not going to get any great results. But that's still better than eating like shit, training hard, and resting, or vice versa. I think nutrition and rest, you're going to at least be, and your body's going to be on point. Everything's going to be firing. Your endocrine system's going to be working. Your circulatory, all your hormones are going to be pumping right, because you can't trump good nutrition. And what I mean by good nutrition is, cut processed food altogether. If it comes in a fucking box, don't eat it. Or if you want to, if you like shit that's out of a box, you know what I happen to like? I like shit like pancakes and an Eggo waffle. That's processed. That's basically all chemicals. But if I eat one every 2 weeks, it's not a big deal. It's just not going to be my main source of nutrition. So what should be is, as organic as you can get, whole foods. Processed food is linked to everything: inflammation, diseases, endocrine disruptors. It's full of estrogens and, what do they call these chemicals in the body that don't block the fat? I don't remember the words exactly. I'm not a fucking scientist. Took a break from my deficit. Started back today. I'm looking forward to it. Single ingredient foods only. That's awesome, brother. And that's it. Just try to eat whole foods, a clean, whole diet. If you're doing that 5 days a week, you can't go wrong. Source your protein as much as you can through whole food. And then have a basic understanding of macros with your nutrition. Protein, fat, and carbs. Understand the relationship and how they work. Understand how you respond. The nutrition is not a one size fits all beyond the obvious, clean, whole foods, right? The way your macros are going to balance out is dependent on from person to person. I've seen people who do well with high protein, little to no carbs, and high fat. And I have, like me, I want to, every time I go on a carnivore diet, which is high protein, high fat, no carbs, I do good for about 2 weeks, and I fall off. By week 4, I'm fucking sick. 3 times I've done it. 3 times it's happened. So understand how to dial your macros in. Understand your daily caloric intake needs. Understand where you have to be to target if you want to gain or lose. Not everybody's looking to lose weight in fitness. You have people that are looking to gain weight. So understand your daily caloric average that you need to take in so you can add or subtract from that. Track that for a while. Then you're able to dial it in. It's a period of months that it takes to dial this in and start adopting this as an everyday habit and a lifestyle.